Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Liberland Show. I'm your host, Adam Carswell, and today we are joined by Gauthier Lamothe. Gauthier is the head director of public relations for Liberland. I couldn't have imagined having a better person on the show for the first show than the head of PR. Gauthier, thank you for joining us, and do you have any opening remarks for our listeners?
Well, hello, Aidan, and thank you for inviting me on the show. Actually, yes, I have a remark. It's funny because you're presenting me as the director of public relations, but Liberland is really a small project, so many people involved in the organization are still, working as human Swiss tools. So it really is an exciting project because I'm blessed with having plenty of tasks that are really beyond the scope of public relations, and that's stimulating because of a variety of tasks that I have to perform every week.
Great. So how long have you been a Liberlandian?
Well, actually, I started supporting Liberland in 2015. This is when it started. And I don't think I really believed in the project in the beginning because I've seen many people, just saying that it's a new country project, but there are many projects like that emerging every year. So I was thinking to myself, okay, I like the idea, I find it promising, I would like to know beings, and what convinced me is that one day I saw an interview of President Jedlička, who told something about the time he was arrested in Croatia, and there was a Croatian judge telling him, this country is only in your head. And the president of Liberland, Gauthier Lamothe, told the judge, yes, but isn't that so for every country? And this actually is something that made me really think about it. And I was really happy to see a person who's got this level of lucidity of awareness of what a country is. And I was thinking, okay, he's at least lucid enough about what he's doing, about the fact that it's a mental construct, and that he can tell this to a judge. And this made me really wish to support the project. So then I started contacting the French representative office because I lived in France at the time already. And much later, actually, in 2017, I finally started to work on the team. First as a filmmaker, and I made videos for the YouTube channel, the Liberlandian news series. So that's my voice you're listening to when you're watching these videos. And well, actually, soon after that, the head of the PR and marketing department departed because she had a professional opportunity and she really wanted to focus on her new company. So, well, I took over because she proposed it to me, and this is how I arrived to the position that I'm actually occupying now. So this is how it happened, and I've been a Liberlandian citizen since 2017 as well. Quite soon after I started being involved in the Liberlandian teams, the president proposed me a citizenship, which of course I accepted because I really loved the idea of the project.
Right, and talking real quick there about citizenship. What was that process like? Because I know right now, there's countless outstanding citizenships that, individuals are hoping will be processed on behalf of Liberland. What was that experience like for you? And what advice do you have to anyone who, could be interested in pursuing the same route?
Well, first of all, I would like to say, please, thank you for your, please understand that we are a very small project. It really looks like a multinational company, but actually it really is more like a family startup or something like that, or maybe an NGO, something like that. A very tiny project, and this is why sometimes we tend to take time before we answer emails. The thing is, we have many people who are willing to obtain citizenship, and I would say there are several kinds of people who apply. There are the people who don't even know what Liberland is. So they basically have seen a video, sometimes a video that we cannot really even understand because some of us do not understand the language on which on YouTube. There are videos in Arabic, for example, or in languages such as telling the persons that the viewer that Liberland basically gives away citizenship for free and that it's a country that is very powerful. So that's very nice for our image. But the thing is, most of the time we are just unfortunately responding to the people who are applying that we are not giving visas or citizenships for free. Mm-hmm. And so that's the first category of people, those who didn't even read about the project. They just knew that Liberland is a country in the Balkans, but they didn't really know that Liberland is a country on which you cannot set foot at the moment. They haven't read about the spirit of the country or something like that. So, that's the first category of people. The second category of people is those who are just willing to participate in the project, but who know that the project is still a work in progress. So most of the time, these people are just willing to donate money or to just subscribe to the newsletter and apply for citizenship. But most of the time, they just wait for it. And sometimes we receive emails from them saying, okay, where is my citizenship? We don't know where it is. And that's actually a private joke among the team. Once you have an email at liberland.org, you are pretty sure that one day or another you will be facing an overwhelming load of emails saying, oh, where is my citizenship? And that's actually quite funny, because sometimes we just tell them, okay, here's the deal with the citizenship, and the person is telling us, okay, where is it? Have you read my email? That's a funny thing, actually. It's really, it's not that disturbing, but it's funny mostly. And we have also other people, those who are willing to help. So the thing is, at the moment, Liberland is not giving citizenships away, and we're not processing applications. Don't believe that we have many people worthy of participation. It's just that at the moment we are very busy, and we're still not able to set foot on the on the territory because of the Croatian police. The Croatian police is performing a blockade. So as long as the Croatian blockade is in progress, we don't really we have no possibility regarding citizenship, because this citizenship wouldn't be of any use to a Liberlandian citizen. So that is why mostly we don't respond to citizenship applications. We of course politely respond on our emails. We respond and just say that at the moment it's not possible to receive a citizenship just by applying and waiting. But some people already received their citizenship because those people were involved in some way for Liberland. They committed to the project, and of course they took a risk. That's very important to say that we are grateful for, and because everyone is really supporting us. So we have citizens and we have applicants who already are eligible for citizenship and who just need to collect it physically in person. So usually they wait for a meeting to receive their certificate. And these people are those who help Liberland. So they either donated money or they committed to Liberland by working. So some people came to Serbia and took care of our boats. Some people just used their developing skills, their programming skills, to develop interfaces, backends, websites. We have so many things related to computer programming that it's a skill that we need a lot. Some of them are doing videos. This was actually what I was doing when I got my citizenship. Some other people are taking pictures, organizing events, working as representatives in their own country. So there are many ways to obtain citizenship. The thing is, every person committing to Liberland or donating money will receive what we call merits. So merits will be the Liberland merit will be the official cryptocurrency of Liberland, even though we believe in free market and in the free use of any kind of money any kind of currency that a user would like to use. The thing is, we have an official cryptocurrency, and we think that this is important for the function, the organization of Liberland. And to receive citizenship, a Liberlandian aspiring citizen has to collect at least 5,000 merits. So at the moment, one merit is exactly $1. And this ratio might change in the future if the Liberland merit becomes, a more reliable currency. And of course, it could go down. We wouldn't like that, but it could. We don't know what the future is made of. Basically, people tend to spend time for us or to donate money, and in exchange, they receive merits. And once they have 5,000 merits, they just send us an email saying, "Hey, guys, I have these 5,000 merits. Can I collect my citizenship?" And this is what they do. So we're not giving passports at the moment, unless, of course, the person needs it for a very specific diplomatic visit, because sometimes we use them to travel. But that's a specific thing, a specific document that is, of course, only given to the people who are working on diplomatic missions. Otherwise, we just give citizenship certificates, and there's no standard requirements. It's a very free country. The only thing is that you really have to believe in the project. That's why we refuse people describing themselves as Nazis or communists, for example. It's not that we believe we cannot have a friendly relationship with a communist human being. I mean, for example, libertarians have communist. The thing is, we are basically building something that really advocates self-ownership. So it's very complex to be a citizen of such a country if you are strong believing in really advocates the opposite. It's it's just as if you were a Muslim, for example, and going to a country where the official religion, is Buddhism, and it would be complicated then to go there if you're not ready to change your views. So that's why we don't accept people who are openly communists or Nazis. But aside from this, there's no very, very rough requirement. We have many ways of obtaining citizenship, and this is really what we want to keep in Liberland. We want to have many different profiles, many different applicants from many countries, and we take pride in the fact that there are more than 500,000 people who applied for citizenship. And of course, not all of them are eligible citizens, because some of them just applied to get a free passport without knowing what Liberland is. Mm-hmm. But many of them really understood the project and really wanted to take part in Liberland. Sometimes it's even disappointing, because you're saying to somebody, okay, the thing is, we love your profile, but we don't have a need for your skills at the moment, but please stay tuned, because one day we might need your skills, and it's really a shame that we don't have something at the moment.
Right. So, wow. That's, I don't think I could have asked for a better explanation of what, if there's anyone listening right now who needed an explanation on what to do to move forward with Liberland, I mean, that's it. That's it right there.
Well, I hope it helps, because we have so many people asking. So now I hope that it helps understand the process.
Definitely. So what's an experience that you've had personally so far with your involvement in PR that you kind of were just like, wow, I don't think if I was doing this right now, I would have ever experienced this with my life?
Well, actually, the funniest one, the most intellectually thrilling one was, it happened this month. We're in October, and it happened something like 2 weeks ago. We went to a diplomatic visit to Somaliland. Have you heard of that about this country yet, or is it something new to you?
Yes. I don't know a lot about Somaliland, but I do know that it's close to Somalia. But from what I've been told and what I've researched, it's nothing like the current state of the country, Somalia. It's very much different.
Yes, actually it really stands to comparison. With any other African country, any other stable African country. Somaliland was a very, very peaceful country with full of very, very interesting people. It's a country with 3 million inhabitants.
Wow.
A very big country with rich soils and many natural resources. And the thing is, okay, let's explain it from the beginning, but I'll be very quick. The thing, Africa was before many countries decided to establish colonies in Africa. Africa was full of ethnies of people who were traveling from one place to another, of tribes, and many of the borders in Africa were really artificial, something made by the people who just sometimes unfortunately enslaved them. And that's why Somali people came from the same ethnic background, but you had basically 3 Somalian countries. You had Somalia, you had Somaliland. So Somalia was colonized by Italy. Somaliland was colonized by the British, and there was the French Côte de la Somalie, which was a French colony, and you could even find people from the same ethnic background in Djibouti, for example, and borders were pretty artificial. So when the settlers went away, when they decided to let these countries become independent, these countries became 2 countries. So one was Somaliland and one was Somalia, and they soon after that, since they were from the same tribe originally, they decided to fuse into one big country, and Somaliland regretted it afterwards, and so they wanted to secede from Somalia. So now they protect their borders, and it's a very stable country, and it has been a very stable country for 27 years. The funny thing is that officially this country doesn't exist for the UN, for the United Nations. So, of course, the story is very different from Liberland's story, because Liberland is not a secessionist or separatist movement. But this is really interesting. Imagine my feeling, because we paid for the plane tickets in cryptocurrencies, in Bitcoin to be precise. So you are using a cryptocurrency that is not really a cryptocurrency according to the IMF. You are traveling from Liberland, a country that doesn't really exist according to the UN, to another country, which is Somaliland, that doesn't exist according to the UN, and the guy is just using a stamp to put a Somaliland stamp on your Liberland passport. And that's actually thrilling, because this is not the kind of geopolitics 101 course that you would think about, and that's certainly not what I would have thought about when I was a kid. Like, you're going to go to phantom states, states that are genuine, that are really, really concrete states, really real states in the heart of their people, but that are not recognized by one of the world instances. So, yeah, this was one of the very intellectually stimulating experience.
Yeah, that's
of course there were many other things, but this one was the latest one, so that's why I'm sharing it with you.
Yeah, thank you. That's amazing if you think about the probability, as you mentioned, of that happening as a child. There's no way you could have hoped or even thought of that.
Yeah, this is not even something you could make up if you wanted to make it up. So yeah, I was really, really happy to do Liberland, but I'm always happy to travel for Liberland as well, and to see how different we all are. This is one of the things that fascinates me at the moment, is that now we have representative offices in something like 90 countries.
Wow.
And that means that we have people from many different cultures. So the average Liberlandian is a person who speaks something like roughly 3 or 4 languages. Some of them speak even 7 or 8 languages. At the third Liberland anniversary, I saw a young kid. He was from Sweden, but he was a Malaysian immigrant, so he was already fluent in his native language, but also in English and Swedish. And the kid was a young entrepreneur, and he was 17 years old, and told me, I quit school because The school system is not really respectful of my mind. I don't feel like I belong in it. So, I'm just creating a movie documentary, and that's why I came to film Liberland. So, it's funny to see a kid who already speaks 3 languages and who's got the maturity of a 30 years old. And I've seen many interesting people, and most of them are very different in the way they view the world. The language you speak also shapes your mind. It shapes your way of thinking. So when you have 3 of them, it really makes open-minded people. And I've seen so many different people, and I cannot say what the traditional dish will look like in Liberland in 20 years. I'm really looking forward to eating that, because it might be a burrito with Sichuan pepper from China and a Japanese sauce, all that on top of a typically American topping. I don't know what it will look like, but it's going to be a blend of culture of many different people. So that's really a funny thing. It's not good for a photographer, because most of the time he's losing his hair, or she's losing her hair, depending on who it is. But the photographers are really having a hard time, because you have so many different skin tones. So you always have underlit black people or overlit white people or something like in between. So it's actually funny to see the difference, and the fact that we have people who come from Uganda and people who come from China or France, and everyone is just talking to each other and sharing things. And the standard Liberlandian is really hard to define if you speak about the ethnicity or the language spoken, but aside from English, of course. But the standard Liberlandian is really an open-minded person who's really keen on exploring new cultures, and who's completely able to work with people from all around the world, and who's, of course, a lover of liberty. That's the least I can say.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And that really gets me excited for the guests that we could start having in the future on this show. Yeah, thank you for just mentioning that. That helps get my mind going as we begin to grow the following on this podcast, on this show, the Liberland show. So we're running out of time. I obviously could go on and talk to you for like 3 more hours about this, but we do want to cut it here. Do you want to real quick just give us your vision of Liberland in 5 years?
I have the feeling that it's becoming likely to be there could be a settlement in 5 years. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball to predict the future, but I wouldn't be surprised if it took 10 or 15 more years before we could really make something out of it, because we don't know where the future is, and you have to have stamina to do that. But I wouldn't be surprised either if in 5 years we were building the first settlements, the first buildings, the first architectural foundations. And what I'm looking forward, and perhaps it'll be like that in 5 years, is, when we'll have people from Liberland who are just chilling out in Liberland. Not people building it, but people enjoying it. Like, harvesting the fruits of their hard work, which is basically just building something a bit different. And of course, it could be a complete failure. We don't know. And the standard Liberlandian is also a person who knows that sometimes it's worth taking a risk to obtain something. So we all took a risk for a beautiful dream, and I think it could become a true country in 5 years. It's already a genuine country at heart, of course, but at the moment there's the Croatian blockade. So I wouldn't be surprised if in 5 years this blockade was over, and if there were people already settling up, building concrete foundations. When I'm not concrete, not the concrete building. I mean the
right, physical,
genuine foundations, architectural foundations. I would love to see shops open, people just having, enjoying the sight of exchanging their views, trying to be the first people to live here. So I don't know what Liberland will look like in 5 years exactly, but I would love to be there and to just caress the sand of the Danube River. And if you ask me about what it'll look like in 20 years, then I would like to see the first baby born in Liberland. This would be this would be symbolically extremely inspiring.
Definitely. All right. Well, Gauthier, we are going to end this show, episode 1. Thank you again for being our first ever guest. It was a complete honor to have you.
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Any closing remarks?
No, well, I don't want to be cliche and close with a live and let live quotation.
I was going to do that if you didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, but this is going to look more like a cult. I don't want it to look like a cult, so I'm not going to do that. Okay. But I did it discreetly. Gotcha.
Well, I guess, we will over time determine what our closing statement will be here on the show. But for the time being, yes, we will say to live and let live. Thank you for tuning in to episode 1 of the Liberland Show. We'll catch you in the next one.
And goodbye.